Welcome to the podcast Running Toward. This podcast tells stories of ordinary people who couldn't look away once they saw the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted. Our guests share heartbreak that led them to take reluctant and unexpected small, faithful steps toward the most vulnerable in their communities. Not because they had a plan, and not because they felt ready, but because they couldn't unsee their pain. You'll hear how people living normal lives discover that getting closer changed them. Their comfort mattered less, their grip on uncertainty faded, and their faith got feet in quiet, everyday ways. Ending the crisis for one or for all isn't a quick fix. It's a long, slow, often messy journey alongside one of the most overlooked and misunderstood groups in our community. Running Toward gives you a front row seat to the hidden crisis in foster care and the families impacted, and to the ordinary people who choose not to look away. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us again on the Running Toward podcast. Today, I'm excited because I have another friend here telling her story of how the Lord led her into foster care and just the journey that she's been on. So if you've ever thought that there's no way that you can do fostering, then this is a story for you. Katie is married. They have 5 beautiful kids. They live a very calm, peaceful life. No stress at all, right? Yeah. No, she has all the typical things that come with a family of 5 to working parents and just the chaos of normal life. So it's going to be exciting to hear her story today. So Katie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you coming out. I know this is probably not on your bingo card for January either, as Brittany was like, I was not planning on doing this today. But so thanks for joining. And kind of let's just start off with tell us like your family right now. Married, kids, ages, kind of what does a typical day look like in the Divine home on a Wednesday? Just catch everybody up on who you are.
So we have 5 kids. They are in 2nd grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 10th grade. I laugh because my mom came last week and she came Thursday and we had 2 events Thursday, basketball and jiu-jitsu. And then Friday we had tennis and basketball. And we're supposed to have ballet, but it had to be postponed a week. And then Saturday we had hockey. So that's kind of our normal rhythm of every day. How many events do we have today to take kids to?
And can we all make it there without requiring assistance?
Yes.
That's cool. And your husband?
He is an electrician. We're married. We've been married since 2012, so however many years that is. We're
cool.
good. Yeah.
So let's start kind of taking me back. You and Nathan get married. Your plans were, you thought your life would look like. Kind of take me back to those early years when you're like, all right, God, this is how I have it kind of planned out. And hopefully you're just going to oblige. And this is how life is going to go. So take me back to that early years.
Yeah.
Just the 2 of y'all.
So my plan was to be married for like 2 to 3 years and then start having kids of our own, and then adopt. Like I did always have adoption on my heart of wanting to do. I just kind of assumed we'd have at least 1, if not 2 kids before. And so we'd been married a couple years and we were like, okay, we think we're ready to start trying to have kids, and bought a house and fixed it up, and kids didn't happen.
Yeah. And you're doing what? What was your career?
So I was teaching high school math. I was a high school math teacher for 11 years. And when my husband and I first got married, he was a youth pastor. And then eventually he decided to totally do a 180 and switch careers and became an electrician.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a change. We have a running joke in our office because Katie and Jocelyn are Aggies, and I'm obviously Red Raider. So I say, she's brainwashed at the cult, but I'm just kidding. I love all my Aggie friends. But so get out your teaching. What kind of school were you teaching at? What was that?
Yeah, so I mainly taught at Title I schools, which I actually loved. I taught at Roosevelt High School here in San Antonio. Go Rough Riders. And loved it. I taught with amazing teachers. Had a lot of support in the school system. It was good, but hard because I've got kids who are from low income families. And I knowingly had, over the course of, the schools that I taught at, kids that I knew were in foster care, kids that struggled, and thought, okay, I mean, I'm learning a little bit more about foster care. I didn't know anything about foster care growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing that we ever talked about.
Yeah. So
anywhere.
Oregon and Title I schools, you're getting exposed. Did you know it was foster care at the time, or you can look back now and know that it was? Did you know it
a little of both.
Yeah.
A little of both. Like some kids specifically, I was told they're in and out of foster care. And then some kind of thought it probably is.
Right.
And then the first school that I taught at in Marlin, Texas, there were a lot of kids, like looking back now, I was like, there were a lot of kids that probably should have been.
Right.
But were probably in kinship, honestly.
Right.
And so like very, very much the same thing.
Right. So kinship, just in case nobody knows what that is, that's when kiddos live with a relative. So like grandparents, majority it's grandparents, but can be aunts, uncles, cousins. Yeah.
There was a lot of that at the first school that I taught at.
Yeah. So in that season, you don't know anything about foster care. You start teaching in the school. You're exposed to some kids. What are you thinking about the system at this point?
That it seems really messy. And like these kids seem to be hopping around like, yeah.
How was it teaching kids who were in your school for a few months and then off again? And then you got kids that had been in their last school a couple months, and now you're expected to get them to some mythical standard of grades.
It was really hard. Daily struggle of, okay, how are we going to get kids as engaged as possible? Because, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. So what can we do every day to make them want to drink what I'm offering them?
Yeah.
So it's challenging. Sometimes a fun challenge, a lot of times a pain challenge.
So where are you and Nathan this season in your faith journey? You both grew up in Christian homes, didn't grow up in Christian homes. You were going to church. Like, what was that season in your life looking like?
We both grew up in very strong Christian homes, became Christians when we were really young. My in-laws, they co-pastored Nathan's entire life growing up. I grew up in the church. My dad was always an elder, taught Sunday school, super heavily involved. But honestly, never heard about foster care. I do remember at one point when I was in middle school or high school, hearing about like providing a home for teen moms. And thinking, that would be really cool. Like, I kind of wish my parents would do that. That sounds really cool. Which now looking back, I'm like, oh, that was foster care.
Right.
But that word foster care is not something I remember.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. So totally oblivious to it all.
So you said in that early marriage, Nathan's a youth pastor before he pivots to electrician. What is he teaching or are y'all exposed to any youth in that season that have hard stories and you're learning some things through youth ministry?
Yes, because he was a youth pastor at a church down the street from Roosevelt, and we lived in the neighborhood. So like he had kids from really hard backgrounds. He even had one student that would come to youth group, and she was on my roster in one of my classes, and I never met her. But Nathan saw her every week at youth group.
She's like, go to school.
No joke. Yeah, she just didn't come to school. Like, because I think I even mentioned it, like, there's this kid on my roster, and I've never met her. And we're like in week 3 or 4 of the school year. And Nathan's like, what's her name? And I told him, he's like, I know her.
What? How do you know her?
Yeah. Anyways, so yes, he was exposed to kids from really hard places. I was exposed to kids from hard places. And then, yeah.
So you're in a season where your plans are not necessarily panning out. You're getting exposed to what you will eventually know as kiddos that are in foster care or in kinship care. So in that, when do you start connecting all of those dots? When does it go from, well, we thought we were going to have kids this way, and now I'm seeing these other kids who are struggling and in a system where other people have to take care of them. How does kind of the Lord and life kind of take you from where your plans you thought you had weren't working out to now a new path?
Yeah. So I would say there's probably like 3 main things. One, we had just bought the house that we're in now, and it was 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, like never thought in a million years I would fill the entire house the way that we have. Like legit thought we'd always have a spare bedroom that wasn't used for anything.
Right.
And we went out to dinner with a cousin of mine, and her husband, and then we went and showed him the house, and they were in the process of getting licensed. My cousin, she was adopted when she was an infant, private adoption, but had a huge heart for adoption and foster care. And so we brought him to the house, and as we were walking through, she's like, oh my gosh, I would love to fill this house with so many foster babies. So they had talked to us about fostering in the process, and we were kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Because at this point, we had been trying to get pregnant for a couple of years, and it hadn't happened. And then we had this house that we were planning on filling with kids, and that wasn't happening. Right. And then we were sitting watching the news, which was like a total God thing that was even happening because we don't watch the news ever. And this story came on of these kids being chained up like literally like dogs in their backyard with chains around their necks. And they panned out to the outside of the house, and Nathan noticed it as being down the street from the house that we lived in when we first got married, that we had just moved from. And he was like, that's Stockport. And I was like, no, there's no way. And it was. And I mean, we still own that townhouse to this day. It's a rental. So we drive by it. And I know I had driven by it recently, and like the front and then the back, just to kind of check on it as a rental. And those kids were probably in the backyard when I drove by.
Wow.
And so we both were like, okay, first of all, that's a horrific story, but it just was very real and in front of us of like, this is happening down the street from us.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like.
Right.
And so we both were like, okay. So those things happening led us to really the Lord speaking to us through those things of like, you're going to need to, I need you to step into this. Like, I'm going to need you to start thinking about this and pursuing this. And so fast forward, we decide to start the process. We go to our first class, and as we're walking to our first like training class for fostering, I'm like totally excited. Like, this is going to be great. This is like, I totally know what we're going to learn about because I taught these kids in my classroom. Like, I know everything I'm supposed to know. And Nathan's like, I don't know, this is crazy. I don't know what we're doing. And we go through the training, and we walk out total flip-flop of both of our attitudes about it. I'm like, babe, I don't know if this is what we're ready to do. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. And he's like, give me 10 right now. I'm ready. Let's go. And that was kind of just, we went back and forth for the next, 6 months of doing classes. And when one of us struggled, the other was like, yeah, this is totally what we're supposed to be doing. And then it would flip flop, but we always continued to move forward. Yeah. Like that was, the goal was to get licensed, and I was teaching at the time. And so our goal, our timeline was to finish teaching and then open up in the summer. Right. And then I wasn't going to go back to teaching full time in the fall. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
So, I mean, I'm just imagining now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're in the season where, as most, you're like, we're going to get married and we're going to want to have kids, and eventually it's going to happen for us. I'm teaching in a Title I school. I'm seeing all these parents with kids that they're not taking care of them, at minimum, maybe hurting some of them. Mm-hmm. Nathan's seeing this in his work before he becomes an electrician. Is there any part of you in that season that was mad at God?
I don't know if mad. With one of my students, yes. I will say yes. I was, and this is crazy too. So I had her my last year teaching full time. And I got to know her story, and what she had experienced was awful. And it was to the point where she was being placed with an aunt, but like for whatever reasons, it couldn't happen until Monday. And there was a person that worked in our school that was afraid of mom taking her across state lines. Mm-hmm. And because this girl had been physically and sexually abused. And so I like needing a safe place for this girl so that she didn't get taken away over the weekend so she could go to her aunt. Right. And I'm like literally I'm like, Nathan, I think we need to take this girl. Like, she needs to come and live with us. And I called our agency and I was like, can we do this? And they're like,
that's not actually how that works.
And then the background story, even more, we're like 95% sure that this girl with her mom and brother lived in our house, in our townhouse as a renters, which is so bizarre. But so even like knowing that And they were unable to continue to live in our townhouse. And so they just owed us money.
Right.
And so if mom had ever figured out, I don't know how she would have, but if like we had taken her in and mom figured out, like it could have almost been like we're kidnapping your child so that you will give up. Anyways, there's a whole lot to that. But with her, I was definitely very angry. Like, this doesn't make sense. This girl is gorgeous. She's so smart. She's so like one of my favorite students. And this awful stuff is happening to her. Like, this just didn't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, that's a totally crazy, like,
that's wild.
It's a small world we live in.
So it went from being something you saw at work to something you decided to do in your home. So you and Nathan go through you said, 6 months it took you guys to get through?
Maybe stuff. No, I think we finished our classes in 6 and then another couple months to get paperwork and stuff done. It's a process. So persistent. It's not like you like decide on a Tuesday and on Friday you're good to go, which is good, right? Yeah. We should have some type of vetting process for this for sure. So you guys open up. What is your family thinking about that you're doing? How are you guys like, all right, like at any moment we could be getting a phone call. Take me back to that season of like, okay, we did the thing. Yeah. Our family on both sides were 100% supportive, which is rare. That's not a normal thing. But my parents were super excited. They were like, we're going to get certified to babysit. My in-laws living in New York at the time, super excited. And we're like, we're going to do whatever we need to do. Like, we'll do Zoom classes. We're going to get certified. Because when you have foster kids, you can't just leave them with anyone, including grandparents. And so in order for our parents, the grandparents, to like act like normal grandparents where they get to hang out with the grandkids without parents, they had to become certified to babysit. So they did. And then through that process, which was really cool, I'm going to brag about my mom, but my mom's eyes were opened to the system and the needs of it. And she was like, well, I can't foster, but I could become a CASA. And so she became a CASA, and she's still CASAing today.
So awesome.
And her first case, the mom, just a really cool story, but she stayed in touch with her first case, and the mom is getting married in my parents' backyard next fall. And my dad is going to marry him. It's just when you say yes in obedience, like the Lord just, it's just really cool to see how he works.
So
anyways,
CASA, and we haven't mentioned that yet on the podcast, but CASA is an organization that you can go to like your mom did and be trained to be an advocate, which means you go into court and you're basically the eyes and the ears of the judge and the voice of the child. And so you kind of serve as that space. And it's a great way to serve in the foster space. Like your mom, I'm not in a season where I'm taking kids into my home, but I do want to help in the crisis. And there's always a need for more CASA advocates. So we'll try to include the link below as to how to get connected with CASA, because that is a great opportunity to serve. So you guys, your parents are on board, which is huge.
Yes.
To have a support system. Everyone that's fostering needs a support system for sure.
Yes.
You guys have a local church at that time?
Yeah. And this was really cool too. God did a lot of really awesome things in our foster journey. He brought like 4 families together within 6 months to our church that we all had a heart for fostering, and we all started the process within like 4 to 6 months of each other with the same agency. And so we started a community group before any of us were open. We were all in the training process. Yeah. And then slowly one family got licensed and open, another got licensed and open, and we just walked through this fostering journey with each other, which was so beautiful. Like that season of life was so sweet. Like even when we get together with the families that are still here, it's like, oh yeah, that was a really sweet season, a really hard season. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But being in it with other people who are walking the same similar paths as you is just really sweet.
Yeah, it is. There's something to not feeling like you're alone on an island, and like validating of all the emotions that come with foster care, so you don't feel like you're crazy.
Yes.
Also, not ideal for drowning people to be serving drowning people. Yep. So yes, as a support piece, I see you, you see me. But then the other piece of having grandparents around who are not currently drowning, who can come and jump in with you and help keep your head above water.
Yes.
When you start getting placements. So
you're
licensed, you've got a group, you've got family on board. Now you get a phone call.
Yeah.
How does that all play out?
It was terrifying. It was for a little girl. Her name was Beautiful, and she's came to our home, and she was only there for 2 weeks, which was really...
Did you anticipate that?
A little bit. Like, we were told up front, her situation's unique, which they always are. But there was family in Tennessee that her dad and grandmother and brother lived in, and she had been living with her mom here in San Antonio, who she was removed from. And so there was a chance that she would go back to Tennessee.
Right.
We didn't think it would be as fast as it was.
Yeah.
But it was, and it was really good. Like, her time here was super fun and sweet, and she was a blast. We just kind of had like Camp Divine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We did a lot of fun things. And
how old was she?
She was 12, going into 6th grade. And she would talk to her grandma and dad and brother on the phone who lived in Tennessee. And every conversation that we listened to, like, it just, we're like, this is where she needs to be.
Yeah.
And whenever you talked with her and asked her about like her family growing up, where she considers home, it was always Tennessee. So yeah. I don't know all the situation of her, how she ended up in San Antonio, but clearly she needed to be back in Tennessee. And so we supported that decision, and thankfully the court decided to do that really quickly.
Yeah.
And she was able to go back home to Tennessee.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you got to experience a short one, which is not typical. In general, they're like 6, 12, 18 months.
Yeah.
That's kind of the normal run of things. And in that season, are you and Nathan thinking, we'll foster and maybe adopt? Or are you like, we really want to adopt?
I think we'll foster, and if adoption happens, like, but it wasn't, we're doing this so we can grow our family.
Yeah.
It was, we're doing this because this is what we feel the Lord called us to do.
Right.
And we'll do it for whatever kids, for however long.
Right.
That he calls us to do it.
But
definitely open to growing our family, but not with the only intention of only wanting kids.
And you'll have this 5-bedroom house. Are you thinking we want sibling groups?
We were still like treading. Although when we had Beautiful, we also got a call from our agency about another girl who was in one home but needing to find a new home. Mm-hmm. And so we had a couple of weekends that overlapped with her and Beautiful. And so we didn't get much of a break, and we kind of had to a little bit, but not completely. And Beautiful left, and then Journey came full time like the following weekend. So that was a really quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's very quick.
Yeah.
So Journey's placement different than Beautiful?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about this one.
So we knew a lot about the abuse that Journey had experienced.
And she's how old?
And she's 7.
7.
6, 7, 7. No, yes. She's in kindergarten, and we didn't know the full extent of it, but we knew a lot. And we knew that her first placement had done a lot of work in helping her overcome a lot of fears that she had, specifically in the bathroom. That was like the scariest place for her to be, was in the bathroom. And for a lot of really good reasons.
Right.
And so they had worked with her to the point that she was able to take a bath by herself.
Wow.
And not freak out.
Yeah.
So that was huge for her.
For sure.
Would not shower.
Yeah.
Could not shower, which was fine.
Yeah.
But she could take a bath. But she had a lot of emotional trauma that played out. And sometimes you could tell things would trigger. And then sometimes we'd be having fun, and then she'd become stoic. And it was like something happened. Something clicked in her brain that was not good. And she like became like almost like stiff as a board and couldn't move her.
Sounds like, the term dissociation, where you like this, like, because of past trauma, something, a smell, a sound, a time of day, a weather, like it can
or
be. Or
change in sometimes it was we turned the TV off, and then it was.
Yeah. You just have, and that's, I think, when we fostered too, that was the thing. You're like, it's like, you have no idea. You have no idea what triggered it, what caused it. We had a little girl who, lovely people at our church who were serving in, the baby section. We go drop her off. And if there was this one person there, she was fine. As long as he held her the whole time, she would tolerate him. We go the next time, this lovely lady would, and I don't know if it was her voice, her smell, her perfume, her way she looked, but she would lose her mind, like, clawing at my neck. And she was a lovely lady, but for what, the brain doesn't, when they're little, like, the body keeps the score. It's a great book.
Yeah.
They don't know, we don't know, and it's a guessing game to try to help figure out, okay, what caused that to happen right then.
Yeah. And then the longer that we had her and the more comfortable she became around us, which is good, that's what you want.
Right.
But then it became these like massive fits of like screaming, throwing things, like it just would escalate into this big thing that Nathan and I were both like, we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And so who's helping you in that season?
We reached out to our agency, our case manager. And at one point we went to Laurel Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time that we got there, she had already calmed down. And so we got there and she seemed like a totally normal kid. And they were like, there's nothing wrong with this child. We're like,
right. You didn't just see what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
An hour ago, this was not where we were at. I mean, 90% of the time, she was the most fun kid. Mm-hmm. And because she was adventurous. She would try anything. Her and Nathan were best friends. Like, Nathan absolutely adored this child. And called her best friend or his best friend. And, but then things would trigger her and it was like just a totally different, like a different person almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that you learn.
Really scary.
Yeah. And it's trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't predict it. You can't control it. That's for sure. Yeah. And they can't control it. And that's the saddest thing, is to watch them know that this is not the kid that they want to be. This is not how they want to respond to that sound, that smell, that whatever. And yet the behaviors are so hard.
Yeah.
So hard to manage, so hard to emotionally carry, so hard to physically keep everyone safe from. And unfortunately, that's the story of a lot of, especially older kids, because they've had not months of trauma, years of trauma.
She did.
So were there any things that helped or worked, or how did you guys work through that?
Ooh. Nothing really seemed to be helping.
Yeah.
They kind of just continued to escalate when she would have outbursts, triggers, to the point that I did not feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to feel unsafe is when it really became unraveled.
Sure.
And there was one morning, it was a terrible morning, awful. I'm trying to get her to school. She's like hitting me, kicking me, screaming, refusing to do anything. And I drop her off. And as soon as we get to the drop off line, like, we usually walk to school. Like, it was so bad, I had to drive her to school. Because I was afraid she was going to like run in the middle of the street, and we're next to a very busy road. And like, as soon as I put the car in park, she's like, okay, bye. And like, completely different person. And I had a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, that was my reaction to it.
Yeah.
And called Nathan, hyperventilating. By the time he got home from work, like, he had to leave work. I'd calmed down. I wasn't hyperventilating and I could breathe. But he picked her up from school that day, which normally he didn't do. And as soon as she got in the car with him, she was back in like attack mode and just screaming. And she would do this periodically with him. Like, when he was in the car with her, if she was having another meltdown, he's so tall, he had to push his seat all the way back so she could literally, the way the seat was, it was behind the driver's side, which may have been our stupidity. But she could like literally grab him. So sometimes he would have to pull over and get out of the car until she calmed down because it was unsafe for him to drive.
Right.
And so he picked her up from school, and she is very much immediately back in
but
that
had
state.
kept it together all during
Oh,
school.
yeah. Had no issues at school. And so he called our agency. They suggested to go to Clarity, like immediately. Don't let her calm down. Like just go when she's in it. And so later he was there for a few hours. Later that evening, she was admitted to Clarity. And she, at one point during her like 5 months with us, she'd been bumped up to a level 2. She came in at basic level 1, and then they bumped her up to level 2. And then at Clarity, they bumped her up to level 3, and she's going to be on psychotropic meds. And being a level 3 meant that we were not licensed for her to be able to come back to her home. And so at that point, we had to put notice in, 2-week notice because of the change. And so we went back like a week later and had like a goodbye visit with her, which was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then,
because it's one of those things you want to help them, but like that. I mean, I've heard this from so many foster families. That event, that day at school, is so common. Of like the people that and you see this in all your normal like marriage relationships, right? You act the worst in front of your spouse because that's who you're most comfortable with.
Yes.
So these kids, it's actually a compliment to your parenting and how safe they feel. Unfortunately, in the fact that all their stuff starts coming out, because if they didn't feel safe, there's no scenario where they would act like that in the car. Because when they acted like that before, there was violence. And so the fact that they could just start letting all their stuff come out, and that's the hard part of fostering, is almost like, oh, this kid's so easy. Like because they're putting on a front, they don't know if you're going to hurt them, take care of them, feed them. And so they've got to keep it all together. And then once they know, oh, these people are nice, they're going to take care of me. Now I'm going to let all the stuff that I've been holding back out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not pretty. And it's really like that day when you're like, wait, you can flip a switch and walk into this school like we didn't just have that drive here. That's mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say, that's good parenting. Good for you. Because it feels the complete opposite.
100% complete opposite.
Like it feels like you're failing.
Yeah.
And I failed that child.
Yeah. And you didn't. And you didn't. Because you see that in so many other cases. The only reason that she could get to that point to let the trauma out that was done to her by other people was because she had a family that she knew even if I punch and kick them and try to make them crash this car, they're not going to hurt me. But this all that trauma doesn't go away because you're in a safe place. I think that's the other one of the other misconceptions in foster care as, well, I'm just going to love them and I give them food consistently and they know I don't hurt them and the bathroom's a safe place here, then they're going to be fine. But that's not true. I mean, we see, and that's where I think just giving people analogies of like, we don't expect that out of soldiers that come home from war. When they come home from war, they have PTSD. They hear a loud sound and they're on the ground. We understand that in adults. We have car crashes and then we don't want to drive because it brings up anxiety. We understand that. But when a kid who's been beat in the bathroom can't stand to take a bath, we don't, for some reason, we think, well, our bath is fine. Why can you not take a bath here? And we don't connect the dots on, it doesn't matter that this is a safe place right now because in her brain, that's not a safe place, whether it's here or there. Yeah. And that's the learning curve of trauma. Yeah. Which makes fostering such hard work. Yeah. The very people that can help you, these kids. Yeah. Push away. Yeah. Is the wild part. Yeah. So Journey leaves. Y'all take some time after that one? Yeah.
So we take a pause. We suggested it. Agency fully supported it.
Right.
I did some counseling because she triggered a lot of things in me that I had been struggling with, a lot of it rooted in infertility. Yeah. And feeling like I'm the reason that we don't have kids and I'm the reason that she had to leave. And I'm like a lot of that. And so processing through a lot of the lies that Satan was telling me. Yeah. And still processing through that from day to day sometimes. There's certain things that he's really good at being deceitful. Anyways, so we took a break for, I don't know, about 2.5 months maybe. And then when we
Which
decided,
is absolutely healthy if you're fostering.
yes, 100%.
Take breaks.
We intentionally took breaks, and then just because of life circumstances, took breaks after every other placement we had. And I strongly support that.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
But when we reopened, we were like, okay, we definitely got our feet wet.
Right.
We learned a lot of things. And we're now ready to do siblings because we have 2 bedrooms that we had set up for kids. And okay, we're ready to do siblings.
Right.
So we said yes to siblings.
Tell me about that. So
Yeah.
I mean, first off, so brave to put your foot back in the water and be like, okay, the Lord's still calling. He hasn't shut that door. It was harder than we ever imagined. And we're going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Now we're going
to take 2.
Times 2.
Yeah. And something else that I didn't mention, we had decided to, so I was a high school teacher. Nathan was a youth pastor. We decided babies were not our comfort zone at all. And we did older kids. So our age group was like 5 to 12-ish. And so our next group, they were, we were told 5 and 9.
Isn't that funny how referral, then the kids show up, you're like, that's not what you told me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 5-year-old ended up being a 4-year-old. Yeah. Totally fine. Switched a few things, but it's all good because I was still working part-time.
You're like in school, not in school.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. But they came, brother, sister, and we're just, okay. We said yes, and they came. It's terrifying to say yes. It never got easier saying yes. Like you're just a ball full of nerves, and then they come in, you're like, okay, doing it again.
Yeah, Brittany last podcast was talking about how her and Jason's response to all the uncertainty was different. So for you and Nathan, how is he responding to this? Did he have was he like I'm going to be a protective husband? This hurt my wife last time. Was he, we're so, more black and white. We're supposed to be doing this. This is what we're doing.
He's just he's just very black and white. Yeah. So we're doing this.
This is what we're
You decide yes. When you say yes, I say yes. And then we go. So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about your next 2 placements, and you get to learn a new vocabulary word and hearing.
Yeah.
De novo.
We got to experience a de novo hearing, which most people will never learn about other than here, which is great. So we had a 9-year-old boy, Brennan, and his 4-year-old sister, Lamaya. They have the same mom, different dads, and they were in mom's custody when they were removed. And CPS didn't, I don't know the situation, but things were not done how the stepdad, Lamaya's dad, thought that they should be done. And they were placed in foster care the day they were removed. And Dad got his own attorney and fought to get custody of his daughter, not Brennan, but Lamaya. And we saw a visiting judge for that court hearing, or a retired visiting judge. And it was not a good court day. We'll just say that. The attorney that Dad hired was sadly extremely good at her job in all the worst ways. Right. And judge ruled for Lamaya to go back to her dad because he had a stable home. He had income. Never mind the reasons that mom was not living with dad at the time. And so Lamaya went back to her dad, and CPS strongly felt like that was not a safe place for her to be. And so we entered the de novo hearing phase of foster care, which is CPS is trying to get the judge to overrule and reverse the decision that they made.
And CPS is Child Protective. So we talk in acronyms, and I try to catch them. But CPS is not the energy company. No. It's Child Protective Services.
Yes.
So, yes.
And so Lamaya was with us for about 6 weeks. And then the de novo hearing lasted another 3-4 months. And at the end of the de novo hearing, it kind of ended the way that the original one did. And the judge threw the entire case out because it was just a hot mess. Right. And I was not allowed, I could not be in the courtroom. So I honestly don't know all the things that happened, but it sounded like a circus.
I'm
basically.
sure it was.
Mainly because of Dad's hired attorney.
Right.
And so when Lamai's case got thrown out, Brennan's case got thrown out, which meant he no longer had a case. He wasn't in foster care anymore, so he was automatically able to go back to his mom.
Sent home. No, not because mom got it together, not because she was now a safe place.
No.
Because the courts screwed up.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. Very much. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not unique.
Right.
And that's one of the challenges that we, push back on and try to advocate for, is that I felt like, except for a few cases, in the court system, the kids I was serving were a last name on a manila folder. They weren't actually a person.
Mm-hmm.
They were a package or a package to move or a problem to solve, but they were not a life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly your court case was, well, we're not even going to look at the fact that if we do this, then it's going to have this impact on a boy who should not be going back to a mom who hasn't done anything to make herself a safer place for him.
Right.
So how does that impact your home?
Yeah. So that was really abrupt, very, very unexpected. But thankfully, like, God just, the way he prepped everything, it's like, looking back, you're like, okay, God, you were totally prepping every single step that was about to happen. So I wasn't able to do this with the first two placements that we had. But I really wanted to try and build a relationship with biological family and not let them feel like we're trying to take their kids. Like, we really wanted to provide a safe place for the kids so that bio parents could do what they needed to do, focus on themselves to get their kids back. Like, that was ultimately, like, that's the goal of foster care. That was our goal. And so I had done like a journal where I would, write a few things that we had done throughout the week, and with a question of like, what's their favorite snack that you make them? What's their favorite activity, whatever, and try to give a picture. So I tried to do that at every visit that I could with Brennan and his mom. And so we had kind of built a relationship with mom at this point. I had met her like face to face, never felt threatened by her. Like, she was always very kind and grateful to us every time we interacted. And so when Brennan went back to mom,
and he's how old now?
He is 10 now.
Yeah.
So he turned 10 in our house. When he went back, caseworker was like, okay, I can't keep tabs. And he had a CASA in that case. And she's like, I can't really keep tabs either. Right. But you could keep in touch. Would you be willing to exchange phone numbers just so you could keep in touch? And so we said, yes.
Right.
We feel comfortable with that. Like, did not feel like mom was any kind of threat at all.
Right.
And so he went back on a Tuesday, and the following Sunday was the championship meet for summer swim team. And he had done swim team and had never done swim team before. He's an excellent swimmer. And so he made the championship swim meet. And so went back to mom, but we're like, but he can swim in this championship meet, and this would be really cool. Yeah. And so we were able to communicate with mom, and they actually came to church with us on Sunday morning, Brennan and his mom. And then we drove to the swim meet and got to watch him swim. So we're like with mom, supporting Brennan together, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then invited him to church. They never came back to church, which was a bummer. And then the next week we had scheduled to go to New Mexico. Brennan was supposed to come. And then another week later, we were supposed to go to New York. Brennan was supposed to fly with us.
Right.
So this was a pause that the Lord just gave us.
Right.
That we didn't know we needed. Because we were literally going out of town, out of the country or the state. And so we could not open our home to new kids and to just leave them immediately. But yeah, so we're like really confused, but just trying to trust that, okay, Lord, you know what's going to happen next.
Right.
We're just
so
going to wait
what does
for
happen
it.
Next?
So then we get back into town and we're settled, not going anywhere. And we say yes to another brother-sister, Kane and Katerina, and they come into our home, and it's very different than Brennan and Lamaya. It's a lot louder and there's a lot more yelling. Brennan and Lamaya got Brennan and Lamaya got along beautifully. Brennan's super sweet with younger kids and just absolutely adored his sister. Genders were opposite. I don't know if that had something to do with it being an older sister and a younger brother. Right. And anyways, so Kane and Katarina come and they're a lot of fun. Kane cracked us up. He was hilarious. And Katarina loved to perform all the time in everything, very dramatic in all of her endeavors. But yeah, so we said yes to another brother-sister.
So they stay for a minute?
Yeah, they were in our home. They came in the end of August, beginning of September of 2019, and then they went back to a kinship placement in Ant in February of 2020, right before
COVID.
Everything changed.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, and so that was an interesting transition of they went to Aunt's house for Thanksgiving. And if paperwork was able to go through, they were going to stay there. If not, they were going to come back to us. And so, like, literally the whole week.
Do you say goodbye? Do you not say goodbye?
Yeah, we didn't know.
Pack all your stuff? Do you not pack all your stuff?
We didn't because we were told, well, they may not, so don't. But, you know, if we need to, you have to be able to do it in like an hour.
Okay.
Normal.
Sure.
It's fine.
Yeah. Welcome to the system.
And so they paperwork did not go through. So the week after Thanksgiving, they came back to us, and it was just, you know.
Yeah. Chaos. Again, package, not a person.
Yeah. And then we had Christmas with them. They went to New York with us to visit Nathan's family because that was our year to go to New York. So had a ton of fun with them, but did not feel like the Lord was leading this to be adoption for us. And their dad was very involved and was working his plan to the best that he could. And they had an aunt. So eventually they went to live permanently. Paperwork went through the court system and court ordered for them to go and live with their aunt for a period of time.
Gotcha.
Right before shutdown.
Right before the world came to an end.
Yeah.
So how are you and Nathan doing right now? I mean, obviously you didn't have necessarily an idea of what being a part of the foster care system was going to be like, but how is this impacting your faith? How is it impacting your marriage, your family relationships? Like, you've had these kids come and go. You've had a really hard case. You've had, some unique cases. Like, how,
as everybody.
Yeah. How is this impacting all the other spaces in your life?
Yeah. I don't know how, but I feel like fostering helped Nathan and I and our marriage to become stronger because we had to talk all the time about everything. And we had to rely on each other and have each other's back and support each other in everything that we were doing.
Right. Y'all were a team.
Yeah, we had to be a united team. And not that we weren't before fostering, it just wasn't.
But it's easier when it's just two of you.
Yeah. And we didn't even have kids. We had dogs. Like, that was what we had. And so it was, for our marriage, it was really good. And for our walk with the Lord, I feel like showed us a lot of things. I didn't have a clue as to what he was doing. I just was trying to be faithful and do what I felt he was calling us to do. I personally, selfishly, did want to grow our family at some point, but did not feel like it was the time yet in any of the situations and the kids. And my parents are still like, well, are you going to adopt any of these kids? Like,
what's happening?
Are they still going to, are we just this revolving door?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nathan's family they weren't quite as vocal about it. I think they had the same feelings. My parents are a little more vocal to me because I'm their child.
Yeah.
But when are we going to adopt kids? Kind of. And so it's like, we don't know. We just
no control.
We're just trying to be obedient and trying to do what the Lord, taking it one step at a time. Yeah. Because that's all we could do.
So adoption is on the doorstep.
Yeah.
Then you get next placement or, one in the future. You have 4 kids.
4 kids. Yeah. So we took COVID. I am really thankful. COVID, I had a very different experience than most people, than pretty much everyone that I've talked to about COVID. So after Kate and Katarina left, we had been for the last couple of years trying to do build an enclosed porch on our backyard or our back of our house, which when you're fostering,
no construction projects.
You can't leave anything out. Yeah, you can work on it a couple hours a day maybe, and then put everything away. And so we realized after Kate and Katerina, after trying for like a year, this is never going to happen. So
while you're fostering.
Yes, while we're fostering. So we told our agency, we're going to pause and we're going to get this room finished, and then we'll reopen. And then the world shut down, and everyone else decided that they were going to build and do things, and so you couldn't get materials, couldn't get anything. So everything became crazy. But it allowed, because we didn't have a placement, I was then able to go and drive and help take care of my niece and nephew in Austin, because my brother worked from home, so his job didn't change. And my sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner, so she continued to do her job.
Yeah, she didn't get a job.
And they had 2 littles. And so my mom, myself, and then my sister-in-law's mom, like the 3 of us kind of went on a 3-week rotation where one of us would go up to Austin for like 3 or 4 days to help take care of the kids. So I loved COVID because I got to know my niece and nephew really well. It was a lot of fun. And then we were able to do a couple different stints of respite, like 2-week respite for a family with our agency, which was a gift to them because they needed a break desperately.
Yeah, because COVID and fostering was infinitely hard.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And
no school.
We had a blast with them because we had them in the summer. We didn't have to do school. I can't imagine doing homeschooling with kids
with trauma.
With kids, with any kid.
Kids
any
in
kid.
general. Yeah.
I'm not a...
There's a reason that certain people are called to teach and others of us are not.
Yes. I mean, I was called to teach. I taught high school.
Right.
In the public school system. Loved it. I am not called to be a homeschool mom.
No.
This is not my gifting. And so we were able to help my brother and sister-in-law. We were able to help another foster family. We took them up to Granbury to visit my parents because they live on a lake, and so their house is the most fun place to be at in the summer. And so, COVID was a really refreshing break for Nathan and I, which is not the case with 99% of the rest of the world.
So you take that break, and then the Lord's like, open again. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. So we get a call or an email about specifically it was for 2 boys who were a sibling group of 4. But the 2 boys are the middle ones were the ones that fell under like our official parameters. The older sibling daughter did not fall totally in our parameters. And then the younger one, she was younger than our age.
Right.
She was 2.5 and our minimum was 4.
Right.
And so our agency sent the email and said, it's for the 2 boys in the middle, but, I'm just going to send you information about all 4. Ha, ha, ha. Just kind of like laughing. And so I looked at all of the paperwork. I read all of it, talked to Nathan, and we know that we have a bedroom that the 2 boys could go in, and we have a bedroom that potentially the 2 girls could go in. And if we said yes to the 2 boys, and they came in and saw their room and then saw an empty bedroom with a bed in it that their sister, and we said no to their sisters, like we wouldn't have been able to live with ourselves. Like we didn't decide to foster siblings to split them up when we didn't have to. And so we were like, well, we don't know how to say yes to the 2 boys without saying yes to all 4. So we said yes to all 4. And our agency was like, really? Are you sure? And we're like, yeah, it's fine.
Sure.
It's fine.
Great. I've had a year off. I'm good to go.
Great.
Let's go.
It's totally fine. And so they come, and it is like wild animals for the first 24 hours. And I'm like,
what did I just say yes to?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What is this brother is like literally punching the other brother in the head and the face because of a kite not flying. I mean, it's like madness. And then he's upstairs literally throwing everything in the room that he can across the room. And the other 3 are downstairs like, what is she going to do? What is this? What is this stranger that I have
just met 24 hours ago?
Yeah, not even. Like at that point, not even. What is she going to do? It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think they came on a Wednesday or Thursday. I think a Thursday. I had all day Friday. And then Nathan took them out Saturday morning for like a few hours, just him and the 4, just so that I could take a breath because I was staying home. He was working. And I think I cried for the first like 2 hours that they were gone, like just so overwhelmed and just releasing so many emotions of what have we done to ourselves, like what is happening, but also weirdly at the same time, like feeling like this is exactly what we're supposed to be doing, but this is absolute chaos.
Like chaos and hard doesn't mean that it's wrong. Yeah. And I think that's also something you learn in life in a lot of different areas, but specifically in foster care. Like saying yes is hard. That's doesn't mean the rest of it. The Lord's like, thank you for saying yes. And here's your easy path to family and healing.
No. And I would say this is, I mean, our community was definitely supporting us the whole time. But when we had the 4, and it was on a different level of the support that we needed and that they instantly provided without me even having to ask it. Like one of the foster moms, she's got 6 kids. They had 5 bio, was fostering one, and she came over. She would just come by and be like, I'm just checking on you because she knew. I didn't, but she did.
She's like, I know.
And one of the times that she came over, DJ was in his room throwing everything in the room, and I'm downstairs like with the 3, like we're all big-eyed, like we don't know what's happening. And she's like, okay, do you want me to take care of DJ or do you want me to be with the 3? And I'm like, I don't even know. And she's like, okay, you stay down here. I'm gonna go talk to DJ. And she was up there for a little while, and then she came down. She's like, you're okay.
We're good.
You can do this. Like she just kept telling me, you got this. You can do it. And I'm like, no, you think?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. She's like, yeah, you totally do. I'm like, okay. But just like that constant support, not even knowing what we needed, but just being present and just stopping by.
And that's such a huge part that people can play, a role they can play if they don't specifically feel that calling to foster care. Great. Just go over and do laundry. Go bring coffee. Go throw the football in the backyard with somebody so that everybody else can take a beat and take a minute. There's so many different ways that you can serve in the foster space outside of even just fostering. So you have these kiddos and they don't leave.
No, they don't. We have them. And we finally, after a couple of months, things start to settle. We get into some kind of rhythm. Behaviors are kind of calming down. We're not quite the wild animals that we were initially. And then we get another phone call from our agency saying that Brennan is back in care and asked if he could come back to our house because he was in a shelter. And so agency got a call about Brennan being in care and asking to come to our home. And we're like, okay, all right, very good. And what's really funny is the whole time we had Kane and Katarina, I remember thinking regularly, like, man, I wish we had Brennan. Like, Brennan would be such a good big brother for these 2 kids. Like, Lord, why don't you bring Brennan back now? Like, why did you have him leave to... Anyways, and we never got a call when we had the 2. And then we get the 4. And so I'm like, okay, well, 4 is
we're
full.
good.
We're good. And then we get the call and I'm like, seriously, like really?
Now?
Yeah. You feel like now is the right time? And so Nathan and I were like, okay, we first want to at least make sure the 4 are okay with us introducing another kid.
Because completely jacks up birth order.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Amaya was used to being the oldest, and this would mean she would not be. And so we sat them down at the bar and telling them, okay, so we got a call. Brennan, and on our fireplace in our living room, we have pictures of all the kids that we fostered. And so we're like, Brennan, he's in that picture. He's back in care and needs a place to live. And we want to make sure that you guys would be okay if he came to live with us. And we didn't even get through the whole sentence. And they're like, yes, we want him to come. We're so excited. Yes. I mean, they're just like, yes, bring him in. And so they're super pumped. He comes, eventually he comes. It takes him a couple days longer for, the system, paperwork and whatnot. But he comes, and I mean, it's like instant open arms and welcoming him into the home. And he's coming in thinking it's just Nathan and I, because when he left, he was the only kid. And he comes in and he's like, what is going on?
How long have I been gone?
But they're like, oh, Brennan, I want to give you this toy. And Brennan, I mean, they're just totally in love with Brennan instantly. And I've got Nathan, I think Nathan took it. I can't remember if I did or Nathan did, but a picture of Brennan holding both boys' hands and praying goodnight to them that first night.
Yeah.
And it's thankfully it didn't show any of their faces, so I could post it on Facebook, but it's in my memory feed, and I try to repost it because it's just such a sweet reminder of like, okay, the Lord was at work. Brennan spent a season in our home and then left abruptly, and we didn't understand why.
Right.
And
because
part of why
ultimately, if you'd had Brennan, you would have never said yes to 4 more.
No.
Yeah.
No, I would have said yes to 2.
Right, but not 4.
Not 4.
Yeah.
No. And I would have never said yes to a 5th if I didn't know the kid.
Yeah.
Like
right.
We were not opening our home.
Exactly.
And
Lord knew. It's like he knew.
It's
Weird.
like he knew what was going to happen, and he was just prepping.
And he's like, I know you won't do this any other way, so we're going to do it this way.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brennan comes in, and it works. There's definitely tension from Amaya and Brennan because they're 2 oldest, and Brennan is like top dog, and he's super cool, and siblings are like, oh, Brennan, which is totally normal. Yeah.
Right.
And Amaya's struggles with it. But she,
Yeah.
Okay.
So many ways we could go on this, but one of the ones I want to ask is what is the misconception of people with adoption and trauma? I think, just to preface this, there's a lot of misconception that, well, once they're in a loving home for a certain amount of time and then you adopt them, they're permanent, then all of that trauma just like disappears, just goes away, and everyone's happy and we just have normal life.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
At all.
Trauma doesn't disappear.
No. I mean, even so, we adopted all 5 kids in 2022, and this past December, Malia's 7 now. She was 2.5 when we got her, 4 when we adopted. But she's just now processing what it means to be adopted through foster care.
Mm-hmm.
And so December was actually a really hard month for her.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple, like one really late night with, thankfully it was just the girls, and the boys were at grandparents' house, where she was like crying because she misses her biological mom, who she doesn't even remember. Like she'll tell you, I don't remember, but I miss her.
Yeah.
And so, no, it doesn't go away.
Mm-mm.
And
you
just love them, and
get space for that.
Yeah. You say it's okay. That's normal.
It's not a knock on you.
No.
It has everything to do with them processing.
Yeah.
Yes, adoption's beautiful. Yes, they have a family forever. Yes, they're safe and can heal. It doesn't negate the loss of what they went through and what they lost in the process. There's still loss that a 4-year-old body can't grieve, but a 7-year-old body starts understanding, and will happen again when she's 13 and 16 and 21. And like, there will be this, it doesn't just go away. It just gets processed as kids grow in different seasons with different levels of understanding and emotional intelligence.
Yeah. And we've had conversations with Amaya in the last year or two about, like, I don't know, like her asking, I still just don't really understand why we weren't able to go back to our mom and dad. Like, why? And so talking with them about what happened and why, to the best that we can do at age appropriate levels to help her understand, it's something that we've done and will continue to do with them.
So just wrapping up, what would you say to the mom that's in the midst of maybe it's hard with biological kids, maybe it's hard with, maybe she's fostering. What would you say to a mom that's in that season, like when you're hyperventilating in the van or you're crying because you just finally got to take a minute and breathe? Like, what would you say to that mom if you could sit across from her at coffee?
Probably it's okay.
Yeah.
And you're not alone.
Yeah.
In that. And every feeling that you're feeling is normal There's nothing wrong with how you're feeling. It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
And just know that you are not alone and that the Lord is with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that in my lowest points, and I really struggled with my faith between Journey and Brennan and Lamaya. And even when Brennan and Lamaya were in our home, like there were Sundays where I had no desire to go to church because I was just like, I don't even know if I believe in any of this.
Yeah. So unjust.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did because we had kids. So
right.
I'm like, but even in all of that pain and frustration and confusion and anger, like the Lord never left. Like he was always there.
He wasn't impatient with your struggle.
No.
Yeah.
And the Psalms became my best friend in that season. Like, studied those and really felt like I could read almost any Psalms and be able to relate to every single emotion that was going on in it. And so that was I would say, one, you're not alone. Two, read the Psalms.
Yeah. Read the Psalms.
And cry as much as you.
Yeah. And I tell people, like, it's okay to be angry. It really is okay to be angry. You're not surprising God. He actually created that emotion. It's not like a shocker to him.
Jesus turned tables because he's mad.
Yeah. And so So thanks for sharing today.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening again today to Running Toward. Thank you for listening to the story. And I hope it encourages you that whatever season you find yourself in, whether it's with biological family or extended family, or maybe you're fostering or adopting, and it's just hard right now. It's just messy and it's just hard. Just like Katie said, it's okay. Have all the emotions. Let them all fly. Take your fist waving and you're crying to the Lord. He's not shocked by it. He's not upset by it. He's totally patient with it. And then go spend some time in the Psalms. Get outside. Go hang out with some friends. But we just thank you and hope this is an encouragement to you that you're not alone. And we look forward to sharing more of these awesome stories with you next week.